What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Hope you're having an awesome day so far. If we have a look at what's going on, Bitcoin is up 1.37%. We actually had a nice little run up yesterday, right? Once we dipped below 10K, instantly got rejected lower. We came back up, so that was good. Also had some news that came out with Mnuchin. We're going to get into that. And one other thing I really want to talk about is this similarity between this chart, and if Bitcoin follows this pattern, which it looks like it might, we're going to talk about it, we could see a 200% to 300% parabolic Bitcoin run-up. I'm not kidding. We're going to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying that we can't go lower, sideways, right? But we got to talk about that. Also, look at these altcoins. Ethereum down 3.39%. And, considering that Ethereum is the number one altcoin, the number two, crypto, really makes me worry for these altcoins right now, especially as the Bitcoin dominance does look like it's going higher and higher and higher. Now, yesterday we did have a little bit of excitement, right? Did anybody have an opportunity? Did you get along? Did you put anything in yesterday? I know some people were able to make some quick gains yesterday. Currently, we have pulled back into kind of the no trade zone, but yeah, if you were able to get along in yesterday, congratulations. That was really cool. So that being said, if you are brand new to the channel and you have not subscribed to Crypto Zombie yet, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day, and you guys know we give away a Ledger Nano S every single Monday. All you got to do is drop a comment on literally any video. Now, like I said, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index was very, very low yesterday. In fact, we were at extreme fear, which is super, super low on the chart. So whether or not you actually agree with this thing and you believe that it actually works, well, you've seen that when we had that extreme greed at 83, we had a massive pullback, and we had extreme low of 16. We had fear, and we had a pump. So currently we're at 34, still relatively low. You usually want to counter trade this thing, all right? So when there's a lot of greed, you usually want to be selling, and when there's a lot of fear, you usually want to be buying. Now, does that mean you should be buying today? Not financial advice. We're going to look into it, but you can look in the past when we tend to have these really greedy days, we do have massive falls and vice versa. Now, giving this a quick refresh live, you will notice that the Bitcoin dominance is up another 0.1%. We hopped up 1% yesterday alone. Now we're at 66.7%, and this is on CoinMarketCap. But what's crazy is if we look at over here on TradingView, you could see that the Bitcoin dominance is actually at 69.48%, so we're almost at 70%. We haven't seen levels this high since way back on December 4th of 2017, and if we break out of this, well, this is going to be putting in recent highs for Bitcoin dominance, and it honestly could be even worse for the altcoins moving forward. Just being serious, just telling you what I'm seeing over here on the charts. Now, we are seeing some selling going on right now, but interestingly enough, you've noticed that we've sort of been weighed over to the long. So regardless of what's going on the spot markets, it looks like people are starting to get a little more excited, a little more positive towards Bitcoin. Now, should we pull the trigger just yet, right? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to have a look over here because we're trapped between these two ranges, okay? The high is the 11,700 that I definitely feel like a broken record at this point. And the low over here is that 9,000, it's almost 9,900. Now, keep in mind, we went below it back here on July 2nd, and we literally just touched it yesterday, okay? But the thing is if you do look here, we actually went down to about 9,744 when we had the first dip, whereas currently we only went down to about 9,863. So this is a higher low. This low is higher than this low, even though just by a little bit, it's hard to really even tell. But looking at the wicks, it is a higher low. Now, if we're looking at just the candles, that's a different story, okay? But I'm gonna look at the wicks for now, just so that we can look at it going upwards, right? Now, we did fall out of this triangle that we were forming, but really, all it's done is just form an even bigger triangle that's potentially extending out to here, right? We're going to talk about that in just 1 second. You can see the 200 EMA. Right here, we touched it. We came below it and instantly pulled back up, and now we're sort of struggling. We're kind of just dancing around the 200 EMA, right? So you can see we go below it, we go above it, we go below it. But currently, we've been supported by this trend that was the middle trend of the ascending broadening wedge that we started. So if we stay on this trajectory, then that shows me that we are going to stay within this wedge and we are going to stay above these levels. So if that's the case, we might touch $10,000 again. And if we don't fall below it another time, then I personally do think that we're going to continue this triangle outward. So what are some different possibilities? Well, you could see we fell out of the blue box zone. I told everybody in the Telegram yesterday, they said, what are you doing? Are you longing? Are you shorting? Well, I wasn't doing anything at that point because I didn't know where we were going. This blue box zone for me is very important. If we go higher than 11,171, then that does put us, in my opinion, in short-term bullish territories, and then we'd be looking to change our tune, right? So if we are supported by this trend line that started from way back here on June 16th, then I think we will probably continue outwards, looking for a breakout around August 8th, but knowing Bitcoin, we usually break out usually 70% to like 85% of the box full. We usually don't, the triangle full. We usually don't get to the end, right? Now, if we fall below this, there is this even longer trend. However, I don't like this one as much because we only have 2 points of contact, 1, 2. You usually want to have 3 points, right, to really solidify the trend. But that being said, if we do fall lower than the blue box zone and we do fall lower than this white trend, then we could be looking for a breakout probably at the end of August. So I mean, that's another thing too. You know, we might be dancing around up and down. You know, you could long it, long it, although I'm not a fan of shorting Bitcoin, but you may be able to accumulate in this range, which is what is a possibility. So we're going to also look to this to be an accumulation range as well. Now, we have been supported by the 500, the 50 moving average on the daily. So not really much else to talk about that. That's good, right? We're being supported. Also, having a look, this is sort of just a different angle. I got rid of the other triangle. You could see this is, we just looked at this chart, but this is it without the second triangle. So this is if we were to go once again all the way to the end of August. I don't think we're going to go that long, honestly. We could, but I think that we're going to have some probably crazier price action before the end of August. But I'm keeping this here just as a template, just to look at what's going on, right? Now, if we were to break out, right, what do you usually do? Well, you usually look at a breakout or a breakdown, potentially to be the same length as the pole. So where did the pole start? Well, considering we had all of this support here at the $7,500 level, I'm just going to start there because it seems like once we got, you could start also from the $9,000 level. It's really kind of subjective, up to you. But if we were even just to go all the way to the end of this trend, which I don't think we'll go that far, but if we were, and we had a potential breakout, you could be looking at a $16,400 Bitcoin, and that's if we make it all the way to the end. If we break out sooner, well, then we could be looking for some higher targets. But what I really wanted to talk about today wasn't this. I wanted to talk about a crazy similarity that we had spoken about previously, comparing the Bitcoin chart to the gold chart. Okay, now I know this is crazy. We've talked about fractals. Do fractals always play out? No, they don't. Okay, and sometimes you can start following one and then it just ends horribly bad, right? That is a possibility. But I want to entertain this because the similarities are uncanny and it could give us clues as to what could happen pretty soon to Bitcoin. So here's what I want to point out. We're going to take this blue box right here. So you can see this red arrow represents the peak, where we maxed out at here around 13,900. And then you can see we have this first low, and then we have this higher low that we put in, okay? So we're putting in this slight trend up here. Only 2 points of contact, okay? It would be nice to see us come down here and touch it one more time. Then it would be confirmed. But currently, this is what we're looking at. Now, here's the interesting thing. If we go back to the gold charts of, it was from March 9th, 2006, to about October 24th of 2006, you could see that we put in pretty much the exact same pattern, okay? Look at this. We came up, we had a high, we wicked down, then we had this sort of period of uncertainty, came down and touched again. Now, even if you look at the percentage gains, the thing you need to notice is that, okay, gold doesn't gain as much percentage as Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is faster, okay? So this is a daily chart, whereas if we come back over here, this is a 4-hour chart. Bitcoin moves faster, right? So you could see, obviously, and it also tends to be more volatile and have bigger gains. So Bitcoin right here gained 57%, right? And if we come over to see what gold did, gold gained only 37%. So you see, gold didn't gain as much, but the pattern was basically similar. So what ended up happening? Well, once we eventually came out over here, we started to put an upwards trend in this triangle, right? Now, if we go back to this chart over here, we were wondering ourselves, are we going to have a continuation of this trend? You see what I'm saying right here? Potentially, it looks like it's kind of dancing on it right now, but this could be that white trend that we were putting in right here. Okay, so if this situation was to play out, and like I said, it may not, it's just a fractal, but if it was to play out, well, we know what happens, because essentially this is the gold chart, and if we go from, I guess kind of like where we are right now, sort of, you could see that was a 235% increase, and the reason that I said 200 to 300% is because that's actually realized profit, right? So if you're up 200%, but it's actually up, let's say 300%, because that's just telling you what you made. You 3x'd, but you already had that initial investment, right? So your profit was 235%, but your actual portfolio would raise, big more than that, right? So that's where we get that 300% number. So let me know if you think that that's a possibility. Also, if you guys want to do a little more research on it, somebody that actually broke it down more. We talked about the video that we had the other day with Crypto Savvy, which if you're interested, I will drop that above right now. But also there's this other video from Dad Shark, and he breaks it down. It's about 10 minutes long, and you can see the similarities are just uncanny. So let me know if you think that we are going to follow in the footsteps of gold. It's pretty crazy. If you look at the charts, we've already followed it exactly from, and this is stuff we've been talking about. So if you're curious, just go back and look at some of the other videos. We have followed it almost exactly. I mean, it's crazy, guys. So let me know, are you going to be following this? Are you going to be playing this? Okay. Because if we get down to some of those, critical lower levels and we start to move the other way, we start to go back up, well, you could bet I'm putting in a long, because I have a feeling that we're probably going to have a massive run up, but currently we're waiting to see what happens, but definitely have a look at that. Also, guys, if you're interested in learning how to do this stuff, you can check out my tutorial that I will drop above, also link below. Now, talking about some fundamentals, not just what's going on with the charts, things that we're not seeing in the charts, things that are happening over the counter. Well, we have South America going absolutely wild over Bitcoin currently, smashing all-time highs. You can see over here on CoinDance, Venezuela, we have Chile, Colombia. I mean, look at these charts, guys, okay? Brazil. So yeah, it's definitely happening. It's definitely being accumulated. Now, talking about this that happened over here, we had Steven Mnuchin. He came out, he talked about Bitcoin, he talked about Libra. I'm not going to go into it because I assume at this point you've probably already researched this or watched the video. I would assume, okay, this is the type of news that pretty much everybody watches, so I'm not going to play a clip for you. But, just to summarize, just to be clear, I've got no idea what I'm talking about. No. Well, that's what some people are saying. And in fact, I've actually seen the news sort of spinning this. You can see right here, U.S. Treasury Secretary slams Bitcoin, crypto, and Libra as national security issue. Now, yes, he did have a lot of negative things to say. He was talking about, the typical illicit activities, but I don't think it was as negative as people are painting it out to be. I actually took away a lot more positive from it, and I'm going to tell you why. But just real quick, few key quotes here from Crypto Slate. They kind of summarize some of the most important things. This is basically what he said. He said, I will focus primarily on the serious concerns the Treasury has of the growing misuse of cryptocurrency by money launderers, terrorists, financiers, and other bad players, right? Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin have been exploited to support billions of dollars of illicit activities like cybercrime, tax evasion, extortion, ransomware, illicit drugs, human trafficking, etc. Many players have used cryptos to support their, basically the same things that we use dollars for, right? Also, good point. If you think you're going to use Bitcoin on the dark web, you're going to get caught. You're probably going to get caught. Bitcoin is not anonymous. It's pseudo-anonymous, but it's not anonymous. Also, you shouldn't be in this to be trying to do illegal things. You shouldn't be doing illegal things. You should be a good person. You should do nice things, okay? Holding Bitcoin for that purpose is not why you should be holding it. He says, I tell them to be careful. They should be clear why they're investing in cryptocurrencies. There are a lot of good things to invest in, obviously, that we know about. Our number one issue, we don't want bad actors using cryptos. Okay, so Basically, all I'm getting at this so far is we just want to make sure no one's doing illegal things, which would also be things you could do with the dollar as well. So it doesn't sound to me like he doesn't like crypto. It just sounds that, like, to me, they just want to make sure that illegal things don't happen. He went on to talk about Facebook. Actually, what's crazy is they're more concerned about Libra than they are about Bitcoin, which is weird. I think they're more concerned about giving the power to a guy like Zuckerberg because they know Bitcoin is decentralized. Like, no one really has any power, right? I mean, it's broken down among the miners. But basically, he ended with whether you're MoneyGram or a bank or online or PayPal, this is intended to be a level playing field. Again, we do encourage, and there's been a lot of financial innovation, et cetera, electronic payments. Lots of people use electronic payments, so we'll continue to support those activities. We want technology to evolve. So it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. It's more or less him. I mean, like I said, I think it was worse for Libra than it was for Bitcoin. I think it was really bullish for Bitcoin, personally. I mean, you could see some of the things out here. Meltem Demirors, she said, Steven just said, I'm not speaking on investment merits of Bitcoin and using it for speculation. I'm speaking on stopping illicit financial activity. This is a non-political situation. My jaw is on the floor. You have other people responding. He basically said it's okay to buy Bitcoin. This is from, Tour de Mystere. Oh, he was talking about the funny comments, though, while it was live. Look at this. They're trying to protect us from ISIS and Zuckerberg. CSW is Satoshi Nakamoto. Trump bought the dip. Bullish. So yeah, obviously there was a lot of the crypto community trolling around in the box on that. And there was this tweet that came out from Brad Garlinghouse. You do know he's the CEO over at Ripple. And he also felt relatively bullish about it as well. He did agree that, it's unlikely that cryptos are going to totally replace fiat, but we do need to work together. And, he went on to talk about XRP and some other stuff as well. Not really a tweet storm, but 7 tweets. For Brad Garlinghouse, that was probably a tweet storm for him. Now, let's talk about some crypto news and then let's get on out of here. So it looks like Crypto.com, which probably has something to do with why they had that massive pump the other day. They got their debit cards out. You can see people are taking pictures. And the cool thing is that these are actually being given to U.S. citizens. So, hey, pretty cool. There you go. Just wanted to talk about that. We also have some good news from Canada. This is the second bit of good news that has come out of Canada recently. First was them relaxing on, anything under 10K. You don't have to report on exchanges. And now you're seeing that Canadian crypto solutions provider and trading platform operator Coinberry has struck its second municipal partnership to provide Bitcoin payment processing for property taxes. Look at that, guys. So Coinberry has begun negotiations with the city of Richmond Hill in the greater Toronto area. And after the council voted on this in July 10th in favor of cementing an agreement, it looks like they are going to be supporting Bitcoin property tax payments for residents in this jurisdiction. So I would say that's a win. We also have, in just 1 year, the number of IBM blockchain patents has grown by 300% when one of the largest companies in the world, 366,000 employees, spend so much of their resources on developing a blockchain department. This tells a lot about the market potential, blockchain and IBM growth, right? So there you go, guys. This tech is here to stay. Bitcoin is being solidified as a valid investment. We had Powell coming out saying, sure, speculate on it. Why not? It's gold 2.0, right? Now you have, Mnuchin saying, we don't have an issue with it. We just obviously don't want illegal activities. So things are looking very bullish for Bitcoin. But I know, my friends, I know. So many altcoin bags, so many people holding altcoins. Well, I want to play a little bit of a video. It's gotten a little bit of mixed reviews. Some people are laughing at it. Some people are saying it's genius. I don't know. You let me know. But this has been floating around. You may have seen it already from Patty Stash. 114,000 views, but let's entertain it on the channel. So basically, he's talking about altcoin. I don't know. Bitcoin dominance is just going up and up and up. But let's just play this video for fun. Let me know what you guys think. And basically, this is what he has to say about altcoins. Altcoins potentially blasting off, and then you're 10 for 10. And then I think we're gonna leave it on that note. Okay, guys. So we're gonna watch this video, and then we're gonna get on out of here. All right. So let me know what you think about this.
I just can't get enough of this. Because what's so important to understand is this is a span from 2014 to almost 2020. So it's 6 years. So for 6 years, there's been this perfect channel. History has repeated itself for 6 years. If you were to make 5 or 10 successful trades in a row, would you feel confident making the 11th trade? Chances are you would. Because you're batting 1,000, you're 10 for 10. So that means the chances of the next, we'll say at bat, if you get a hit, it's probably pretty good because you're 10 for 10. So now, the fact that this is hit this line and perfectly bounced, then hit the top line, came down, hit the bottom, perfectly came up, hit the bottom, perfectly came up, hit the top, perfectly came down, and is now sitting right on that bottom line. How confident does that make you feel knowing that every time this line or this line has been touched, it's gone the opposite direction? I feel pretty damn confident. Now, what makes me feel even more confident is the fact that the inverse is the opposite. The Bitcoin dominance is at the peak now. That's altcoin. Every time it's ever come together, there's been a bounce. Boom. So
wait, can I just interrupt for a second? Yeah, that's how dominance works. Just saying, like when one goes down, the other goes up. Okay, let's get back.
Now, this is the dominance for altcoins sitting right here, which is the equivalent to right here. So the chances of this bouncing are probably pretty strong. And if you compare that chart to this, in the past, you could see that when that dominance dropped and almost came to where the Bitcoin dominance was and went the opposite way. Do you think that's going to happen again? This chart pretty much shows it's going to happen. So if that's going to go like this, Bitcoin dominance is going down. I feel like it's just a matter of time. I don't know how I never saw this altcoin dominance chart, but it's a game changer. Get ready.
Let me know what you guys think about that. I do agree that altcoins are most certainly due. I agree with that. I mean, altcoins have been just like slaughtered lately. So I do agree with that. But personally, I still think that we're being very driven by Bitcoin. Okay. Plus, we have the halving event that's coming up in less than a year. A lot of people are excited about that. You saw what happened to Litecoin. If that is indicative of what's going to happen to Bitcoin, well, yeah, I'm just going to say that, guys. So does this mean we're going to have an alt season? I don't think we're going to have, I don't know honestly, but personally right now with the Bitcoin dominance rising, Bitcoin outpacing everything, the top altcoin Ethereum just getting absolutely slammed. It's not looking good right now. I wouldn't bet against the house. However, if you are looking to accumulate, when the altcoins do eventually have their blast off, then most likely now would be a great time for accumulation. But like I said, we could go lower too. So do what you want, not financial advice. Wanted to just show you guys this video, ask your opinion on it. That being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really do appreciate everyone that's been subscribing lately, all of the support. I love all the brand new faces in the Telegram group, really getting me excited. You guys are sort of vibing off of my bullishness and I'm vibing off of your bullishness. And it's just kind of like a cool little environment that we've built right here. And it's really awesome to hang out with you guys every day on the channel. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for supporting the channel by using the referral links below. You don't have to, but obviously it does help. Thank you so much. And obviously, turn on the bell notification, okay? So you can get these updates right away because sometimes YouTube likes to turn the bell notifications off. I don't know why they do that.